The Torrey Canyon was one of the world's first big supertankers, nearly 300 meters long by 40 meters wide. She was built in the US in 1959 and had her initial capacity of 60,000 tons doubled following a refit in Japan. She was owned by the Barracuda Tanker Corporation, a subsidiary of the Union Oil Company of California. On the 18th of March 1967, she was chartered to British Petroleum and carrying a cargo of 120,000 tons of oil from Kuwait to Milford Haven in southwest Wales. At around 6 a.m, the captain woke to find the ship was further to the east of the Scilly Isles than was intended. To go round the west of the Isles would have been the safest route, but it would have added 40 miles and precious time. So he made the fateful decision to take the 7-mile-wide deep water channel that lay in the 20-mile stretch between the Isles and Land's End. As the almost unmaneuverable ship negotiated the channel, an underexperienced junior officer was in charge of navigation. The Italian captain, Pastrengo Uggiati, who was also on the bridge, realized they were heading for a collision with a fishing fleet. But there was confusion as to whether the ship was in manual or automatic steering mode, and by the time this was resolved, it was too late. Cruising at 17 knots, the Torrey Canyon hit Pollard's Rock in the Seven Stones Reef and tore open 6 tanks. The resulting oil spill was an environmental disaster. Several methods of addressing the accident and containing the spill were attempted. To begin with, a Dutch salvage team tried to float the ship off the reef, but this was unsuccessful and resulted in the death of one of the team members. As the ship broke apart after several days on the rocks, the high seas meant that the use of foam booms to contain the oil was met with limited success. Over 190 kilometers of Cornish coast and 80 kilometers of French coast were contaminated by the oil spill, with an estimated 15,000 seabirds killed, along with large numbers of marine organisms. And the attempts at breaking up the 430 square kilometer slick actually exacerbated the damage. There was a heavy use of solvent emulsifiers, which were officially referred to as detergents to downplay the toxicity of their elements. 10,000 tons of these were sprayed onto the floating oil and the beaches. With the crisis threatening to worsen, English Prime Minister Harold Wilson held a mini cabinet meeting at the Royal Naval Air Station Culdrose in Cornwall, where it was decided that setting fire to the remaining oil was the only option left. On Tuesday the 28th of March, the Fleet Air Arm sent buccaneers from Lossiemouth to drop 42 1,000-pound bombs on the Torrey Canyon. The operation was vouched a success, even though the Navy was criticised in the media when a quarter of those bombs failed to hit a stationary target. A stationary target 300 by 40 metres wide, no less. After the bombs, the Royal Air Force deployed Hunter jets to drop cans of aviation fuel to ignite the oil. Over 3 days, a total of 160 bombs, 11,000 gallons of kerosene, 3,000 gallons of napalm, and 16 rockets were aimed at the ailing ship. She finally slid from view on the 21st of April. An inquiry into the accident was held in Liberia, where the ship was registered, and it laid the blame squarely at the feet of Captain Uggiati and his decision to take a shortcut to save time. Belma is a neighbourhood in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. On the 4th of October 1992, it joined our list of infamous places when a Boeing 747 cargo plane, El Al Flight 1862, crashed into the Groene and Klein Kruitberg apartment buildings. The plane had just made a stopover at Schiphol, where provisional repairs were made to engine 3 before the plane took off again. 5 minutes later, engine 3 fell off the plane, taking engine 4 with it. As the crew slowed the plane while attempting to make an emergency landing, they lost all control, banking to the right and hitting the buildings. The official death toll of 43 has been disputed due to the number of illegal immigrants in the apartments. And rumours persist about dangerous materials carried on the plane and unexplained men in white coats removing evidence from the crash site.
Three, two, one.